Srimati Sagarika Ghose ji, 16 minutes.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of my party, All India Trinamool Congress, I rise to speak on the motion of thanks on the President's address. I wish to start by quoting from the renowned Bengali poet Sukumar Rai, "Rode ranga iter paja, tar opore boshlo raja, ঠোঙা ভরা বাদাম ভাজা খাচ্ছে কিন্তু গিলছে না ঘেমে ঘেমে উঠছে ভিজে ভেবা চাকা একলা নিজে হিজিবিজি লিখছে কি যে বুঝছে না কেউ একটুকু A king dressed in warm clothes at the height of summer is chewing peanuts and writing nonsense on a slate. He is totally distant from reality. He is in fact living in a state of denial, the state of denial. Denial of the present day reality, sir. This is what is the mentality of this government. It is a denial of the present day reality government. That is why this government gets a grade D. If the Honorable President's address on this government's performance had to be given a grade, it would be given a grade D. D grade government because it is in denial, denial, denial. The Modi government is in denial of the lived reality of citizens. Let me now explain in detail. The President spoke of upholding constitutional values. Fundamental to constitutional values, sir, is the right to vote. In the ongoing revision of electoral rolls, the right to vote is being snatched away. In Bengal, 10 living voters in Kuch Bihar were declared dead. Almost 140 have died because of the severe trauma that citizens are facing because of the ongoing revision of electoral rolls. 1.25 crore citizens in Bengal have been placed in a list named logical discrepancy, simply because either their mother's age is too low, or their spelling mistake of their names is a little different, or they have 5 siblings. They have been placed in a list called logical discrepancy. They are facing disenfranchisement. A software has created this list. Can technological software determine citizenship? Can an algorithm be allowed to decide who can vote and who can't? Nobel laureate Amartya Sen. Sir, Amartya Sen has been summoned for a hearing. So has Mohammad Shami. So has Jhulan Goswami, top cricketers. And there has been not a word of reassurance from the top constitutional office that the right to vote will be protected. Does this government know? Does this government know the pain that citizens are going through because of this exercise? It doesn't know because it is a grade D government, living in denial government. Denial, denial, denial. Only thinking about the long term. As John Maynard Keynes said, sir, in the long term we're all dead. What about the present reality? What about the present reality? Their denial of the present reality. Number 2 example of denial of reality. The respected President said the government is building a system free of corruption and scams. Sir, this is laughable. A series of reports by none other than the Controller and Auditor General, tabled at the end of 2025, has said that the much touted direct benefit transfer, DBT payments, is seeing fraud to the tune of thousands of crores. There are large-scale fraud and mismanagement in GST collections. The CAG has flagged 22,000 crore worth of irregularities in GST collections. I'm not saying this, sir. This is the Controller and Auditor General, a constitutional body. The CAG has found massive anomalies on the Skill India portal. Digital systems, the so-called game changer of this government, are enabling fraud on a gigantic scale through ghost payments, data scams, transfers to ineligible beneficiaries. The direct benefit transfer scheme, according to the CAG, is shot through with data rackets and swindling on a huge scale. Thousands of crores of rupees are flowing into DBT systems without checks. There are reports of massive scams in BJP-ruled states, massive scams. In Goa, the cash for jobs scam has played out. In Madhya Pradesh, there have been repeated reports of corruption scandals. In BJP-ruled Uttarakhand has seen a series of scams. The Home Guard uniform scam. Tragically, sir, the media and the press has been captured. The media and the press, they have captured. That is why these scams are not investigated and do not make headline news. But they are scams nonetheless. The Enforcement Directorate, the ED, the election department of the ruling party never raids ruling party politicians. 95% ED cases are against the opposition. The ED has even raided our own party office just before assembly elections. But the ED does not touch the BJP. Of 25 opposition leaders who crossed over to BJP since 2014, 23 have got a clean chit from the so-called ED washing machine. Is this a scam-free government, sir? No, it is not a scam-free government. Those who say it is scam-free are living in denial, denial, denial. D-grade government, denial of reality government. Number 3 example of denial of reality. The Honorable President spoke of India being the fastest growing major economy and keeping inflation under control. But today, India is one of the most shockingly unequal nations in the world. The latest World Inequality Report 2026 shows that top 10% earners capture 58% of the national income, while the bottom 50% get only 15% of the national income. The top 10% Indians hold 65% of the national wealth, while bottom 50% hold only 6% of the national wealth. 83% Indians, sir, 83% Indians are living on less than rupees 171 per day.
Shame.
So when the Honorable President says the government is moving forward on the reforms express, what reforms express are we talking about? A constitutional address should be a diagnostic exercise, not a celebratory victory poem. A constitutional address should be a moment of institutional introspection. But this government cannot introspect because it is in denial of the present-day reality. That is why it is a D-grade government. Shockingly, this government has repealed Manrega, which was the only major law which was named after Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation. The government inherited this scheme from past governments, and in difficult conditions, Narega was hailed and gained global recognition for being a lifeline of the rural poor. The President said the new VBG Ramji law will provide 125 days of work. But this is nothing but an illusion, because sufficient funds are simply not being allocated. This government has consistently lowered budget allocations to Narega. How will it provide 125 days of work? Is the D-grade government, the denial of reality government, aware of rural distress? It is not. Farmers' protests have registered a 5-fold increase since 2017. There were 34 farm protests across 15 states in 2017, rising to 165 protests across 22 states in 2020-2021. Farm suicides account for 6.3% of total suicides in the country. But the President said there is a new momentum to rural development. What new momentum to rural development, sir? All this government knows is denial, denial, denial. Grade D government, denial of reality government. What about the state of the rupee? When the UPA was in power, a former Gujarat Chief Minister, who we know very well, compared the rupee to the age of the then Prime Minister. Should we make similar remarks today when the rupee is in free fall? The D-grade government is in denial of the problem, practices distraction, and uses division as political strategy. Just like the king who munches peanuts on a hot day wearing warm clothes is in denial of government, is in denial of reality. That is the kind of denial they are under. So, the President mentioned that the government is creating a powerhouse of green growth. Green growth. Did I hear that right? The President did not by one word mention India's toxic levels of air and water pollution. The Lancet countdown records that air pollution in India causes 17 lakh deaths annually. Delhi's winter pollution is equivalent to smoking 33 to 50 cigarettes per day. Air pollution causes financial losses to the tune of 9.5% of GDP. Last month in Indore, 15 died and over 200 were hospitalized because drinking water is so polluted. Economist Geeta Gopinath has said that pollution in India pollution has a more dangerous impact on the economy than even tariffs. But there was not one word on pollution on the President's address. I looked through the address, sir, to find the word pollution. It is not there. It is left out because this government is in denial of present-day realities. Sir, denial number 5. The Honorable President said the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is bringing positive change. There is no Sabka Saath, there is no Sabka Vikas in today's India. None other than the Chief Minister of a BJP-ruled state has called for the economic apartheid of a particular community and referred to them as Miyas and said they should be made to suffer. A BJP Chief Minister has said this. Shocking attacks against Christian community took place during Christmas last year. Over 800 cases of violence against Christians took place in 2024. This government needs a reality check on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Offences related to religion increased by almost 50% from 2021 to 2023. India Hate Lab records over 1,300 cases of hate speech in 2025, an average of more than 3 hate speeches per day. 3 hate speeches per day. A Kashmiri shawl seller, an 18-year-old Kashmiri shawl seller, was recently attacked in Dehradun, only the latest in the list of such incidents. Will this government accept? No, because this is the denial of reality government. Denial, 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 D for denial, grade D government. Denial of reality number 6. The Honorable President said lakhs of youth are being provided jobs. The anecdotal evidence, sir, says otherwise. Why did almost 25 lakh youth, many of them PhDs, MBAs, law graduates, apply for 50,000 Class 4 peon jobs in Rajasthan? In 2024, Haryana Kaushal Rozgar Nigam reported that over 39,000 graduates and over 6,000 postgraduates, 39,000 graduates, 6,000 postgraduates applied for the post of sweeper. In UP, nearly 50 lakh applied for 60,000 constable posts. The CAG's 2025 performance audit has underlined the failures of the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Scores of certificates have been handed out, but large numbers of skilled youth remain unemployed. Youth unemployment rate between the age 15 to 29 stands at over 14%, 3 times the national rate. There's another worrying trend, sir. The closing of the Indian mind. The minds of the young are being closed for ideological reasons. School history textbooks are being rewritten for short-term ideological reasons, which is a grave disservice for future generations. Has the government, in denial of reality, even read the annual status of education reports, which show that 8th standard children cannot read class 2 textbooks or do basic mathematics at the class 2 level? 8th standard children cannot do class 2 level schoolwork. UNESCO says as many as 56% Indian children are not proficient in reading. Of the over 15 lakh schools in India, 1.5 lakh functional electricity. Almost 70,000 schools lack functional toilets. Student suicides have risen sharply by 73% from 2014 to 2023. But this government is in constant denial. Denial, denial, denial. D for denial. A D grade government is in denial. The Honorable President spoke of the Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita or BNS law creating a sense of security. But a celebrated activist from Ladakh, who this very government has fated, is imprisoned under NSA. University students have been held without trial for 5 years. 10,000 citizens were arrested under UAPA from 2019 to 2023, with a conviction rate of only 3%, showing that these arrests are designed only to spread fear. 15 journalists have been charged under UAPA since 2014, sir. At least 5 stand-up comedians have faced so many attacks that they can no longer stage shows in our country. Sir, the great writer Umberto Eco said that laughter kills fear, and without fear there is no tyranny. This government wants to exercise tyranny by shutting down the power of laughter, by shutting down the power of comedy. That is why when we can't laugh, we can't question tyranny. They want to exercise tyranny. That is why they are shutting down the subversive and the important power of laughter. That is why this government gets a D grade. It is a D grade government. It is a denial of reality government. Sir, at the very end, I would like to say that I've listed these denials, but there are many more. But what makes it worse is this regime's ignorance of the great diversity and plural traditions of our country, indeed of our heroes. The president of their ruling party, of the BJP, has said Rabindranath Tagore won the Nobel Prize for Peace. Unko Shanti Nobel mila. The president said, the president of the BJP said, when Tagore won it for literature in 1913. So a few weeks more and we will have the Bengal elections. The BJP is clueless on Bengal, but it wants to win votes in Bengal. I'll end with some lines from Tagore. Ki pai ki jama kori ki debe ke debe din miche kete jay ei bhebe bhebe chole to jetei hobe ki je diye jabo biday newar age ei kotha bhabo. They have to go sometime or the other, sir. They can't stay forever. What will they leave behind? They will leave behind a government that has consistently been in denial about reality. Denial, denial, denial. A grade D government has been in denial about present day reality. Thank you, sir.